children!
My sincere apologies. While I was having a meal, my computer did an update all on its own, so everything was set to, you know, not what I wanted it to be. And that depends. Okay, that one still works. Alright, let's read that one again, eh? My apologies. Thank you for trying to notify me. At least you get to stare at the happy cat. And this started on a very smooth note, let's say that. It's a good day. That was a dry run, this is now the start. Hello, how is everybody doing? Can I have me some tea? The Enchanted Shirt. The king was sick, his cheek was red, and his eye was clear and bright. He ate and drank with kingly zest, and peacefully snored at night. But he said he was sick, and a king should know, and doctors came by the score. They did not cure him, he cut off their heads, and sent to the schools for more. At last 2 famous doctors came, and one was as poor as a rat. He had passed his life in studious toil, and never found time to grow fat. The other had never looked in a book. His patients gave him no trouble. If they recovered, they paid him well. If they died, the heir... Sorry, the cat hit the play button. They'd double. Together they looked at the royal tongue as the king on his couch reclined. In succession they thumped his august chest, but no trace of disease could find. The old sage said, "You're as sound as a nut. Hang him up," roared the king in a gale, in a 10 gale of royal rage. The other leech grew a shade pale, but he pensively rubbed his sagacious... No, can't say that one still. Sagacious nose, and thus his presentation ran. Stop pressing play, please, cat. Look, I'll click over here, alright? There you go. But pensively rubbed his nose, word I'm skipping, and thus his presentation ran. The king will be well if he sleeps one night in the shirt of a happy man. Wide o'er the realm the couriers rode, and fast their horses ran, and many they saw, and to many they spoke, but they found no happy man. They found poor man who would fain be rich. They found, and rich who thought they were poor, and men who twisted their waists in stays, and women that short hose wore. They saw two men by the roadside sit, and both bemoaned their lot. Their lot. For one had buried his wife, he said, and the other one had not. At last they came to a village gate. A beggar lay whistling there. He whistled and sang and laughed and rolled on the grass in soft June air. The weary couriers paused and looked at the scamp so blithe and gay, and one of them said, "Heaven save you, friend, you seem to be happy today." "Oh, yes, fair sirs." The rascal laughed, and his voice rang free and glad. "An idle man has so much to do that he never has time to be sad." "This is our man," the courier said. "Our luck has led us aright. I will give you 100 ducats, friend, for the loan of the shirt on your back tonight." The merry blackguard lay down on the grass and laughed till his face was black. "I would do it, God wot!" and he roared with the fun. "But I haven't a shirt on my back." Each day to the king the reports came in of the unsuccessful spies, and the sad phenomena of human woes passed daily under his eyes, and he grew ashamed of his useless life and his melodies hatched in gloom. He opened his window and let in the air of the free heaven into his room, and out he went in the world and toiled in his own appointed way. And the people blessed him, the land was glad, and the king was well and gay. And now we are back to the same point that we were at earlier, but this time we have audio. For the love of... Yeah, we're off to a good start. But we have a happy cat. That's what counts, right? You can't go that way. No, here, I'll move these. There you go. You gonna go? See you later, buddy. Put that down there. I'm feeling lazy. Oh, never mind. Hang on, let me move the books. You picky little sod. He really does love getting my attention. How are you? You know I'm going to need my hand back at some point, right? I can't just keep it up here for you. Oh, my leg. There we go. That works. The fairies of the Colden Low. And where have you been, my Mary? And where have you been from me? I've been to the top of the Colden Low, the midsummer night to see. And what did you see, my Mary, all up on the Colden Low? I saw the glad sunshine come down, and I heard the merry winds blow. And what did you hear, my Mary, all up on the Colden Hill? I heard the drops of water made, and I heard the corn ears fill. Oh, tell me all, my Mary, all that ever you may know. That you know. For you must have seen the fairies last night on the Colden Low. Then take me on your knee, mother. Then take me on your knee, mother, and listen, mother of mine. 100 fairies danced last night, and the harpers. Harpers, they were 9. And their harp strings rang so merrily to their dancing feet so small, but oh, the words of their talking were merrier far than all. And what were the words, my Mary, that then you heard them say? I'll tell you all, my mother, but let me have my way. Some of them played with the water and rolled it down the hill, and this, they said, shall speedily turn the poor old miller's mill. For there has been no water ever since the 1st of May, and a busy man the miller will be at dawning of the day. Oh, the miller! How he will laugh when he sees the mill dam rise. The jolly old miller, how he will laugh till the tears fill both his eyes. And some they seized the little winds that sounded over the hill, and each put a horn into his mouth, and blew both loud and shrill. And there, they said, the merry winds go, away from every horn, and they shall clear the meadow dank from the blind old widow's corn. Oh, the poor blind widow, though she has been blind so long, she'll be blithe enough when the meadow's gone, and the corn stands tall and strong. And some, and some they brought the brow's lint seed, and flung it down from the low, and this, they said, by the sunrise, in the weaver's croft shall grow. Oh, the poor lame weaver, how he will laugh outright when he sees his dweedling flax field all full of flowers by night. And then outspoke a brownie, with a long beard on his chin. "I have spun up all the tow," said he, "and I want some more to spin. I've spun a piece of hempen cloth, and I want to spin another, a little sheet for Mary's bed, and an apron for her mother." With that I could not help but laugh, and I laughed out loud and free. And then on top of the Caerden Low, there was no one left but me. And all on top of Caerden Low, the mists were cold and grey, and nothing I saw but the mossy stones that round about me lay. But coming down from the hilltop I heard a far below, how busy the jolly miller was, and how the wheel did go. And I peered into the widow's field, and sure enough was seen the yellow ears of the mildewed corn, and standing stout and green, all standing stout and green. And down by the weaver's croft I stole to see if the flax were sprung. But I met the weaver at his gate, with the good news on his tongue. Now this is all I heard, mother, and all that I did see. So prithee make my bed, mother, for I am tired as I can be. That was actually written by someone called Mary Howitt. That was quite pleasant. I think I preferred the first one, though. I seriously just think he lives here now. Ever since I put this blanket up for him, he's been very happy. I sit here and I play, and he just happily lays like this all day. If he's not here, he's laying on my bed or getting food. Lillywin and his dog. The spearman heard the bugle sound, and cheerily smiled the morn, and many a branch and many a hound obeyed Lillywin's horn. And still he blew a loud blast, and gave a louder cheer. "Come, Galen, come, weren't never last Lillian's horn to hear. Oh, where does faithful Gallant roam?" My apologies, one moment. My apologies. Hello. Where were we? Oh, where does faithful Galliard roam, the flower of all his race? So true, so brave, a lamb at home, a lion in the chase. That day Lillywin little loved the chase of hart or hare, and scant and small the booty proved, for Galliard was not there. Unpleased Lillywin homeward hied, when near the portal seat his traunt. My word, these are bizarre words. Galliard he espied, bounding his lord to greet. But when he gained his castle door, aghast the chieftain stood. The hound all o'er was smeared with gore, his lips, his fangs ran blood. Lillywin gazed with fierce surprise, unused such looks to meet. His favourite cheeked his joyful guise, and crouched and licked his feet. Onward in haste Lilywon passed, and on went Gilad too, and still, where'er his eyes were cast, fresh blood, gates, shocked his view. O'erturned his instant bed he found, the blood-stained covert rent, and all around the walls and ground with recent blood bespret. He called his child, no voice replied. He searched with terror wild, blood. He found on every side, but nowhere found the child. Hellhound, my child's by thee devoured, the frantic father cried, and to the hilt his vengeful sword he plunged in Gilead's side. His suppliant looks, as prone he fell, no pity could impart, but still his Gilead's dying yell passed heavy o'er his heart. Aroused by Gilead's dying yell, some slumbering wakened knight, what words the parent's joy can tell to hear his infant cry? Concealed beneath a tumbled heap, his hurried search had missed. All growing from his rosy sleep, the cherub boy he kissed. Now scathe and he, nor harm nor dread, but the same couch beneath lay the gaunt wolf, all torn and dead, Tremoldius still in death. Ah, what was the Lilywon's pain? For now the truth was clear. The gallant hound the wolf had slain to save Lilywon's heir. Vain was all Lilywon's woe. Best of the kind adieu, the frantic deed which laid thee low, this heart shall ever rue. And now a gallant tomb they raise, with costly sculpture decked, and marble stories with his praise. Poor Gilead's bones protect. Here never could the spearman pass, or forester unmoved. Here oft the tear bespaked grass Lilywon's sorrow proved, and here he hung his horn and spear, and there, as evening fell, in fancy ear he oft would hear poor Gilead's dying yell. Oh, my heart. You're right, buddy. Yes, I think he likes the addition to my desk. The Battle of Blenheim. Yeah, it's going to struggle with that word. It was a summer evening. Old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun. And by him sported on the green his little grandchild, Wilhelmine. How bizarre. She saw her brother, Peterkin, roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet, in playing there and found. He came to ask what he had found. And that is a sentence. that was so large and smooth and round. Old Caspar took it from the boy, who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a neutral sigh, "'Tis some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in a great victory. I found them in the garden, for there's many here about, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out. For many thousand men," said he, "were slain in the great victory. Now tell us what 'twas all about." Young Peterskin he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. "Now tell us about the war, and what they fought each other for." "It was the English," Caspar cried, "who put the French to rout." But what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said, quoth he, that 'twas a famous victory. My father lived at Blenheim then, yon little stream hard by. They burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with the wife and child he fled, nor had he where the rest his head. With fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a gentle mother them and now born baby died. But things like that, you know, must be at every famous victory. They say it was the... They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, you know, must be after a famous victory. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough won, and a good Prince Eugene. Why, 'twas a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory, and everybody praised the Duke who this great fight did win. But what good came of it at last? Quoth little Peterkin. Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but 'twas a famous victory. That sounds very on the nose of the 100-Year War that the English had with the French. Also, I do sincerely apologize, but I shall take a very short hiatus, and I'm going to leave the Cantina band from Star Wars on loop for a moment.
get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it undone. Someday, when your head is...
It's good to be back. Priority experiences only on O2. O2, here comes brighter.
Registration required.
Sorry about the view.
But when you book with Expedia,
You don't have to go all
like a great companion, Expedia has your back throughout your journey with flexible options all in one app. Expedia, it matters who you travel with. Click to download today.
Flexible options on selected hotels. Terms apply. Atoll protected.
Hello, hello. And yes, happy little cat. He's not exactly little, but he is very happy. And that's a moth. No, it's not. How are you today, Spinach? Hello. Lovely. Let's get rid of that. It's the wind, buddy, don't worry. I hope you got the timing of that alert down, so it matched perfectly. Anyway, back to it. Can't just sit stroking a cat for too long. I swear, every single one of these has a bizarre name. The Inchcape Rock. The Inchcape Rock. Wow, that was my brain autocorrecting. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion, her keel was steady in the ocean. Without enough sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Incape Rock. So little they rose, so little they fell. They did not move the Incape Bell. The abbot of Aberbrotherock had placed that bell on the Incape Rock. On a buoy in the storm it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. When the rock was hid by the surge's swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock, and blessed the abbot of Aberbrotherhock. The sun in heaven was shining gay, and all things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled around, and there was joyance in their sound. The boy on the Incape Bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph and Rover walked his deck, and he fixed his eyes on the darker speck. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excuse, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. Hello, Zachary, how are you? I do apologise, I didn't have my audio set right earlier. Ooh, tut. His eye was on the Incape float, quoth he, My man, put out the boat, and row me to the Incape Rock, and I'll plague the abbot, Abbot Hock. Oh, don't do what I think you can do. The boat is lowered, and the boatsmen row, and the Incape Rock they go. Sir Ralph bent down. What's up, buddy? You okay? I'm quite well myself. I'm still very much trying to get my head in line. I'm not sure why, but lately I've just been less than mentally stable. And that's the best way I can put it. But I am working on it, and that's the important thing. What's up with you, buddy? Do you want to hop down? No? Okay. Sorry, he doesn't decide what he wants to do very much. So he just generally sits here. Anyway, he thought he'd plague the abbot. Bent down from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Incape float. Down sunk the bell, with a gargling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, the next who comes to rock won't bless the abbot of Arbhook. Stop with the tail, you. I'll see if he wants to go out in a moment, but first we finish this. Sir Ralph the rover sailed away. He scorned the seas for many a day, and now grew rich with the plunder's store. He steers his course for Scotland's shore. So thick a haze o'erspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. On the deck of the rover takes his stand, so dark it is they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, it will be lighter soon, for there is dawn of the rising moon. Canst hear, said one, the breakers roar? For methinks we should be near the shore. Now where we are I cannot tell, but I wish I could hear the Incape bell. They hear no sound, the swell is strong. Though the wind hath fallen, they drifted along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. O Christ, it's the Incape Rock! Sir Ralph the rover tore his hair, he cursed himself in his despair. The waves rushed in on every side, the ship is sinking beneath the tide. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rover hear, the sound as if, with the Incape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. Why would you break a warning signal for other vessels? You get what's coming to you if that happens. You alright? The cat's just sat there looking at me. He seems happy enough. Don't forget, folks, if you wish to get me something specific to read, you can either drop it off in our Discord. That was not an exclamation mark. Ignore that one, go to that one. Or if it's something that needs to be purchased and delivered, I may have to set up a little P.O. box or something to that effect. But that comes with time, of course. Just gonna let the cat out. So, as ever, if there are poems you wish for me to read, or perhaps something a little longer, send it to me there. The Arab's farewell to his steed. My beautiful, thou stands meekly by, with thy proudly arched and glossy neck, and dark and fairy eye. Fray not to roam the desert, now with all thy winged speed. I may not mount on thee again, thou art sold, my Arab steed. Fret not with that impotent hoof, snuff not the breezy wind. The furthest that thou fliest now, so far am I behind. The stranger hath thy bridle rein, thy master hath his gold. Fleet-limbed and beautiful, farewell, thou art sold, my steed, thou art sold. Farewell those free, untied limbs, full many a mile must roam, to reach the chill and wintry skies which clouds the stranger's house. Some other hand, less fond, must now thy corn and bread prepare. The silken mane I braided once most beauteously, braided once must be another's care. Man, I auto-corrected the hell out of that. The morning sun shall dawn again, but never more with thee shall I gallop through the desert paths, where we were wont to be. Evening shall darken on the earth, and o'er the sandy plain. Some other steed with slower step shall bear me home again. Yes, thou must go. The wild, free breeze, the brilliant sun and sky, thy master's home. From all of these, my exiled one must fly. Thy proud dark eye will grow less proud. Thy step became less fleet, and vainly shalt thou arch thy neck, thy master's hand to meet. Only in sleep shall I behold the dark eye glancing bright. Once in sleep shall hear again, and step so firm and light. And when I rise my dreaming arm to check or cheer thy speed, thy must I starting wake to feel thou art sold, my Arab steed. Ah, rudely then, unseen by me, some cruel hand may chide, till foam weathers lie like crescent waves along thy panting side, and the rich blood that is in thee swells in the indulgent pain, indignant, till careless eyes which rest on thee may count each startled vein. Will they ill use thee, if I thought, but no, if I cannot be, thou art so swift, yet easy Arab, so gentle, yet so free. And yet, if haply, when thou'rt gone, my lonely heart shall yearn Can the hand which casts thee from it now command thee to return? Return! Alas, my Arab steed! What shall thy master do, when thou who wert his all of joy hast vanished from his view? When the dim distance cheats mine eye, and through the gathering tears they bright form for a moment like the false mirage appears. Slow and unmounted will I roam, with weary feet alone, where with fleet step and joyous bound thou oft hast borne me on. And sitting down by the green well, I'll pause and sadly think, 'twas here he bowed his glossy neck when last I saw him drink. When last I saw thee drink. Away! The favoured dream is o'er. I could not live a day and know that we should meet no more. They tempted me, my beautiful, for hunger's power is strong. They tempted me, my beautiful, but I have loved too long. Who said that I had given thee up? Who said that thou wert sold? 'Tis false, my Arab steed. I fling them back their gold. Thus I leap upon thy back and score the distant plains. Away! Who overtakes us now shall claim thee for his pains. If you're trying to sell something so very, very important to yourself, you have to be sure. There are no takebacks. Lovely mint tea. I am feeling terribly lazy, so as I say, since the cat is not there, I can quite happily rest it on other books. Bernardo del Capio. The warrior bowed his crested head, and tamed his heart of fire, and sued the haughty king to free his long imprisoned sire. I bring thee my fortress keys, I bring my captive train. I pledge thee faith, my liege, my lord. Oh, break my father's chain. Rise, rise. Even now thy father comes, a ransomed man this day. Mount thy good horse, and thou and I will meet him on his way. Then lightly rose that loyal son, and bounded on his steed, and urged, as if with lance in rest, the charge's foamy speed. And lo, from far, as on they pressed, there came a glittering band, with one that midst them stately rode, as a leader in the land. Now haste, Bernardo, haste, for there is the very truth. For there, in very truth, is he, the father whom thy faithful heart hath yearned so long to see. His dark eyes flashed, his pride breast heaved, his cheeks blood came and went. He reached that grey-haired chieftain's side, and there dismounted bent, and lowly knee to earth he bent, his father's hand he took. What was there in its touch that all his fairy sprint shook? That hand was cold, a frozen thing. It dropped from his hand like lead. He looked up at the face above. The face was of the dead. A plume waved o'er the noble brow. The brow was fixed and white. He met at last his father's eyes, but in them was no sight. Up from the ground he sprang and gazed, but who could point that gaze? They hushed their very hearts, that saw its horror and amaze. They might have chained him, as before that stony form he stood. For the power was stricken from his arms, from his lip the blood. Father! At length he murmured, low, and wept like childhood then. Talk not of grief till thou hast seen the tears of warlike men. He thought on all his glamorous hopes, and all his young renown. He flung the falchion from his side, and in the dust sat down, then covering with his steel-gloved hands his darkly mournful brow. No more, there is no more, he said, to lift the sword for now. My king is false, my hope betrayed, my father. Oh, the worth, the glory, the loveliness are passed away from earth. I thought to stand where banners waved, my sire beside thee, yet I want that there are kinder blood on Spain's free soil had met, thou wouldst have known my spirit then. For thee my fields were won, and thou hast perished in thy chains as though thou hadst no son. Then, starting from the ground once more, he seized the monarch's rein amidst the pale and wilder looks of the quarter train, and with a fierce, o'er-steering grasp, the reaching war-horse led, and Stanley sat them face to face, sternly. The king before the dead, come, I not forth upon thy pledge my father's hand to kiss, but still and gaze thou on false king, and tell me what is this. The voice, the glance, the heart I sought gave answer. Where are they? If thou wouldst clear thy purged soil, send life through this cold clay. Into these glassy eyes put light. Be still, keep down thine ire. Bid these white lips a blessing speak. This earth is not my sire. Give me back him for who I strove, for whom my blood was shed. Thou canst not, and a king. His dust be mountains on thy land, thy head. He loosed the steed. His slack hand fell upon the silent face. He cast one long, deep, troubled look, then turned from the sad place. His hope was crushed, his after fate untold in material strain. His banner led the spears no more amidst the hills of Spain. Ooh. Oh, we're still reading the children's poems. You know, because you have to read about people very much being deceived by monarchs to children. That one was by... Oh, that's the name. Felicia Hemans. Not spelled like that, spelled Hemans. That was lovely to read, though. That was truly fun. Bernardo and Alfonso. With some good 10 on his chosen men, Bernardo hath appeared before them all. Also, I am pausing every time there's a comma, it's kind of weird. Before them all, in the place hall, the lying king to beard. With cap in hand and eye on ground, he came in, revenant cruise. Gaze. Yep, gaze. But even the anon he frowned, and flame broke from his eyes. A curse upon thee, cries the king, who comest unbid to me. But what from traitorous blood shall spring save a traitor like to thee? His sire, lords, had a traitorous heart. Perchance, our champion brave may think it were a pious part to share Don Shinso's grave. Whoever told you this tale, the king hath rashness. Alright. To repeat, cries Bernard. Here my gage I fling before the lair's feet, liars. No treason was in Sacno's blood, no stain in mine doth lie. Below thy throne, what knight will own the coward's calumny? The blood that I like water shed when Ronald did advance, by secret traitors hired and led to make us slaves of France. The life of King Alfonso I saved at Roncesvalles. Your words, Lord King, are recompense abundant for it all. Your horse was down, your hope was flown, I saw the fleeting shine. the soon had drunk your royal blood, had I not ventured mine, but memory soon of service done deserteth the immigrant, and you've thanked the son for life and crown by the father's bloody fate. He swore upon your kingly faith to set Don Sancho free, but curse upon your plating breath the light he ne'er did see. He died in dungeon, cold and dim, by Alfonso's base decree, and visage blind, and stiffened limb, where all they gave to me. The king that swerveth from his word hath stained his purple black. No Spanish lord will draw the sword behind the liar's back, but noble vengeance shall be mine, and open hate I'll show. The king hath injured Carpi's line, and Bernard is his foe. Seize him! Loud the king doth scream. There are 1,000 here. Let his foul blood this instant stream. What? Caedfis, do you fear? Seize the traitor, but not one to move a finger dareth. Bernardo standeth by the throne, and calm his sword he beareth. He drew the falchion from the sheath, and held it up on high, and all the hall was still as death. Cries Bernard, "Here am I, and here's the sword that owns no lord, expecting heavens and me. Fain would I know who dares its pilot king, Condot or Grandee, my apologies." Then to his mouth the horn he blew, it hung below his cloak. His 10 true men the signal knew, and through the ring they broke, with helm on head and blade in hand, the knights the circle break, and back the lordlings 'gan to stand, and the false king to quake. "Ha, Bernardo," quoth Alfonso, "what means this warlike guise? You know full well I jested, you know your worth I prize." But Bernardo turned upon his heel, and smiling passed away. Long rued Alfonso, and Castile, the jester of that day. It was suddenly very loud. My apologies, I didn't mean to get very loud. I've everything turned up to hear you, and it was like shouted into the mic for a second. I do apologize. It may have just been the positioning I was at. I do not intend to do such. I do like to get into it, though. But this is going to continue, for it is Bernardo's revenge. What tents gleam on the green hillside like snow in the sunny beam? What gloomy warriors gather there? like a surely mountain stream. These for Bernardo's revenge have come like a stormy blast, the rage of their long cherished hate on a cruel king to cast. Smiters of tyranny, cries their chief, see yonder slavish host. We shall drench the field with their craven blood, or freedom's hope were lost. You know I came from father's death, my filial vow to pay. Then let the murdered censure be your battle cry today. On, for the death of the tyrant king. Hurrah! Was the answering cry. We follow thee to victory, or follow thee to die. The battlefield, the charge, the shock, the quivering struggle now, the rout, the shout, while light mosts flash from Bernard's angry brow. The chieftain's arms has need to rest. His brand drips red with gore. But one last sacrifice remains ere his work of toil is o'er. The king who looked for victory from his large and trained host, now flies for safety from the field where all his hopes are lost. But full in front with blood-red sword a warrior appears, and the war cry, murdered Sancho, rings in the tyrant's ears. Ha! Noble king, have we met at last? With scornful lip he cries, Don Sancho's son would speak with you once more before he dies. Your kindness to my sainted sire is graven on my heart, and I would show my gratitude once more before we part. Draw, for the last of Sancho's race is ready for your sword. Bernardo's blood should flow by him, by whom his sire was poured. What wait you for, vile, craven wretch? It was not thus you stood, when lying oust you fiendish plans to spill my father's blood. Draw, for I will not learn from thee the assassin's coward trade. I scorn the lessons you have taught. Unsheath your murderous blade. Roused by Bernardo's fiery taunts, the king at length engaged. He fought for life, but all in vain, unequal strife he waged. Bernardo's sword has pierced his side, and the tyrant's reign is o'er. Father, I have fulfilled my vow. I thrust for blood no more. Thirst. Message deleted. Was there another bot? Yes. Many thanks. Unfortunately, that one's by someone we don't know. That was a truly enjoyable one, though. Lochnaver. I reckon this is going to be one that forces me into an accent, for no reason other than the name. Oh, young Lochnaver is come out of his west. Through all the wide border his steed was the best, and save his good broadsword, he weapons had none. He rode all unarmed, and he rode all alone, so faithful in love, and so dauntless in war. There never was knight like the young Lochnaver. He stayed not for brake, and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk River, where ford there was none. But ere he alighted at Netherby gate, the bride he consented, the gallant came late. For a laggard in love, and a dastard in war, was to wed the fair Ellen, the brave Lochnaver. So boldly he entered the nearby hall, among bridesmen and kingsmen, and brothers and all. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on his sword, for the poor craven bridegroom said never a word. Oh, come ye in peace here, or come ye in war, or to dance at our bridal, young Lord Lochnaver? I long wooed your daughter, my suit you denied. Love swells like a Solway, but ebbs like its tide. And now am I come, with this lost love of mine, to lead but one measure, drink one cup of wine. There are maidens in Scotland, more lovely by far, that would gladly be bride to the young Lochnaver. The bride kissed the goblet. The knight took it up. He quaffed off the wine, and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush, and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand, ere her mother could bear. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochnaver. So stately his form, and so lovely her face, that never a hall such a gallard did grace, while her mother did fret, and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and palm. And the bride maiden whispered, "'Twere better by far to have matched our fair cousin with young Lochnaver." One touch to her hand, and one word in her ear, when they reached the hall door, and the charge stood near. So light to the group the fair lady he swung, so light to the saddle before her he sprung. I'm going to put it down, let the cat in, so you can view the image for just a moment. Come on then, up you come. You alright? Stay there. Are you hopping up here? we have a returning cat. So to finish off that one, she is one, we are gone, over bank, bush, and score. They'll have fleet steed that follow, quoth young Lochfor. There was mounting Monja. No, hang on. We've got a bizarre letter. It's an EA. Secure the no. Yeah, that's a bizarre one. There was a mountain Mong Greymunds. I don't think that's how it's pronounced. Of the Netherby clan. Frosters, Frenwicks, and Musgraves. They rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing on Conebe Lee. But the lost bride of Netherby ne'er did they see. So daring in love, and so dauntless in war. Have ye e'er heard of Gallant like young Lochnavar? By Sir Walter Scott. We've read a few of his before. I'm fairly sure, at least. Look, I'll pay attention to you for a bit. Just stop headbutting my hand. Please. You okay? We're having a involuntary cat break. You good? Come on, step this side. You did it. Look, buddy, come here. Come here. Let this hand go. Isn't that better? How are we doing today? As I happily stroke this cat. At some point I'm going to have to make sure that you can hear him. Hear the happy purrs. Not today. I reckon I can do it, though. Terribly sorry. Let me get under my blanket, for I am cold. Is anyone searching for advice? For I will give every penny of it that I can muster. Any time. Any place. What advice do you seek, my dear? But while you think on that, ye Marines of England, that guard our native seas, whose flag has braved 1,000 years, the battle and the breeze, your glorious standard launch again, to match another foe and sweep through the deep while the stormy tempest below, while the battle rages loud and long, and the stormy tempest below. The spirits of your fathers shall start from every wave, for the deck it was their field of flame, and ocean was their grave. Where Blake and mighty Nelson fell, your manly hearts shall glow. Oh, he's pressing the spacebar again. As ye sweep through the deep, while the stormy tempest blow, while the battle rages loud and long, and the stormy tempest below, Britannia needs no bulwark, no towers along the steep. Her march is o'er the mountain waves, her home is on the deep. With the thunders from their native oak, she quails the floods below, as they roar on the shore when the stormy tempest blow. When the battle rages loud and long, and the stormy tempest below, the meteor flag of England shall yet terrific burn, till danger's trouble night depart, and the star of peace return. Then, ye ocean warriors, our song and feast shall flow to the fame of your name, when the storm has ceased to blow, when the fiery fight is heard no more, and the storm has ceased to blow. It's silent. Any other noise? I can't hear what you're saying. Are you able to hear me at the moment? My dear. Hang on, come this way a touch. Yes, alright, wonderful. And I'm not sure what was happening a moment ago for you. Squish, squish, squish. Because as long as my background is silent. Oh, right, I understand. I do apologize, I'm not sure why I'm coming through so quiet for you. Let me check my settings quick. Caught it. Have it turned up all the way, but still so silent. Quiet, don't worry. I will quickly check my set. Oh, it will be, won't it? This one... I do sincerely apologize for this. Properties. Levels. No, that is set correctly. I'm not sure. It says as... Test 1, 2. That is not shining through. Very odd. I have to check something quick. I cannot pause. Bother. My apologies. Alright, so that's definitely that, and not this. Okay, good. Very strange. It looks reasonable on my end, if just a touch low. Not low enough to cause bother, I don't believe, though. The Pilgrim Fathers. The breaking waves dashed high on the stern and rock-bound coast, and the woods against the stormy sky their giant branches tossed, and the heavy night hung dark, the hills and water o'er, when a band of exile moored their bark on the wild New England shore. Not as the conquerors came, they, the true-hearted, came, not with the roll of stirring drums and the trumpet that sings of fame. Not as the flying come, in silence and in fear. They shook the depths of the desert gloom with the hymns of lofty cheer. Amidst the storm they sang, and the stars heard, and the sea, and the sounding aisles of the dim woods rang to the anthem of the free. The ocean eagle soared from his nest by the white waves' foam, and the rocking pines of the forest roared. This was their welcome home. There were men with hoary hair amidst that pilgrim band. Why had they come to wither there, away from their childhood's land? There was woman's fearless eye, lit by her deep love's truth. There was manhood's brow, serenely high, and the fiery heart of youth. What sought they thus afar? Bright jewels of the mine, the wealth of seas, the spoils of war. They sought faith's pure shrine. I call it holy ground, the soil where first they trod. They have left unstained what there they found, freedom to worship God. Right, okay. Incident of the French camp. You know, we French stormed Rostenburn, a mile or so away. On a little mount, Napoleon stood on our storming. With neck out thrust, you fancy how, legs wide, arms locked behind, as if to balance his prone brow. Oppressive with its mind, just as perhaps he mused, my plans that soar to earth may fall. Let once my army leader, Lennes, waver at yonder wall. Or out twixt the battery's smokes there flew a rider, bound on bound, full gallop, nor bridle draw, until he reached the mound. Then off there flung in smiling joy, and held himself erect, by just his horse's mane a boy you hardly could suspect. And so tight he kept his lips compressed, scarce any blood came through. You looked twice ere you saw his breast was all but shut in two. shot into. My apologies. Well, cried he, Emperor, by God's grace, we've got you, Ratisbon, the marshal in the marketplace, and you'll be there anon to see your flag bird flap his vans, where I, to heart's desire, perched him. The chief's eye flashed, his plans soared up again like fire. The chief's eyes flashed, but presently softened itself, as sheathes a film the mother eagle's eye when her bruised eaglet breathes. You're wounded. Nay, the soldier's pride, touched to the quick, he said, I'm killed, sire. And his chief beside, smiling, the boy fell dead. I think I've read that one before. So there was a man who Napoleon despised, I suppose. And it was a Mr. Smith, ironically. He was a British officer who every single time fought against Napoleon, Napoleon lost. Napoleon knew of this man, he knew of his name, and every time he heard that the opponent had Smith, he would get so flustered and so angry that he was unable to control his men correctly. He was a brilliant strategist, but he just flew off the handle when he knew Mr. Smith was there. If it hadn't been for him, I'm fairly sure that the French would have won without hesitation. Because again, Mr. Smith was there, and he very skillfully distracted Napoleon enough to cause many, many miscalculations. I might save this one for next week. Definitely not Mr. Anderson. But I do approve of the reference, as you well know. With how I'm feeling, I may simply do the one more and halt. I do apologize. But mental health takes precedence, unfortunately. Horatius. But the council's brow was sad, and the council's speech was low, and darkly looked he at the wall, and darkly at the foe. Their van will be upon us before the bridge goes down, and if they once may win the bridge, what hope to save the town? Then out spake brave Horatius, the captain of the gate, to every man upon this earth death cometh soon or late, and how can man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? How dare the bridge, Sir Counsel, with all the speed ye may, hew down. I, with 2 more to help me, will hold the foe in play. In your straight path 1,000 may well be stopped by 3. Now who will stand on either hand and keep the bridge with me? Then out spake Cerberus Lartius. Romanian proud was he. Lo, I will stand at the right hand and keep the bridge with thee. And out spoke strong Herminius. Of Titan blood was he. I will abide on the left side and keep the bridge with thee. Hirtius, quoth the council, as thou sayest, so let it be. And straight against that great array, forth went the dauntless three. For Romans in Rome's quarrel spread neither land nor gold, nor son nor wife, nor limb nor life, if the brave days of old. Now while the three were tightening their harnesses on their backs, the council was the foremost man to take in hand an axe, and fathers mixed with commons seized hatchet, bar, and crow, and smote upon the planks above, and loosed the props below. Meanwhile the Tuscan army, right glorious to behold, came flashing back, and the noonday light, rank behind rank, like surges of a broad sea of gold. 400 trumpets sounded, a pearl of warlike glee, as the great host, with measured tread, and spears advanced, and ensigns spread, rolled slowly towards the bridge's head, where stood the dauntless three. The three stood calm and silent, and looked upon the foes, and a great shout of laughter from all the vanguard rose. And forth 3 chiefs came, spurring before that deep array. To earth they sprang, their swords they drew, and lifted high their shields, and flew to win the narrow way. I'm sure we would prefer you to stay healthy. Many thanks, my love. But meanwhile the axe lever have manfully been piled, and now the bridge hangs tottering above the boiling tide. Come back, Hortius, loud cried the fathers, all. Back Latius, back Hermias, back ere the ruin fall. Back darted Spurius, Latius, Herminius, darted back. And as they passed beneath their feet, they felt the timbers crack. But when they turned their faces, and on their father's shore saw brave Hortius stand alone, they would have crossed once more. But with a crash like thunder fell every loosened beam, and like a dam the mighty wreck lay right athwart the stream, and a long shout of triumph rose from the walls of Rome, as to the highest turret tops was splashed the yellow foam. Alone stood the brave Hortius, but constant still in mind. Thrice 30,000 foes before, and the broad flood behind. Down with him! Cried false Sextus. while a smile on his pale face. "Now yield thee," cried Laris Porson. "Now yield thee to our grace." Round turned he, as not dying, dignining. While not dignan, those craven ranks to see, nor spake he to Lars Porson, to Sextus naught spake he, but he saw on Paulton's the white porch on his home, and he spake to the noble river that rolls by the towers of Rome. "O Tiber, Father Tiber, to whom the Romans pray, a Roman's life, a Roman's arms, take thou in charge this day." So he spake, and spaking sheltered the good sword by his side. Sheathed, my apologies. And with his harness on his back, plunged headlong into the hide. No sound of joy or sorrow was heard from either bank, but friends and foes, in dumb surprise, with parted lips and straining eyes, stood gazing where he sank, and when above the surges they saw his crest appear, all Rome sent forth a rapturous cry, and even the ranks of Tuscany could scarce forbear to cheer. But fiercely ran the current, swallowing high by months of rain, and fast his blood was flowing, and he was sore in pain. And heavy with his armour, and spent with charging blows, and oft they thought him sinking, but still again he rose. Never, I ween, did swimmer in such an evil case, struggling through such a raging flood, safe to the landing place. But his limbs were borne up bravely by the brave heart within. And our good father Tibia bore bravely up his chin. And now he feels the bottom, now on dry earth he stands, now round him throng the fathers to press his glory hands. And now, with shouts and clapping and noise of weeping loud, he enters through the river gate, borne by the joyous crowd. That was actually a really nice one. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We shall continue next week. And I do apologize for doing a shorter one, but I'm sure you will understand. We shall see if the usual is online to raid. Wait, hold on, is she not? My word. Give me just a moment, please. What? She's not live. Very well, I know where we'll raid. Click. Start raid. As ever, I hope you all had a wonderful time. I hope you try something to better yourself just a little bit. Every small step is terribly important and spread nothing but love. Cheerio and ta-ra. Many thanks once more.